world. This is the Fan Fanatic Podcast. I'm Parker Gerlecki, aka the Fan Fanatic, and with me as always is my broadcast partner,
Dad,
aka Ryan Gerlecki. I've got a passion for all things sports. So, on the Fan Fanatic Podcast, we'll talk to anyone and everyone from all over the world of sports who will sit still long enough to answer my questions.
that's right. Now, as a result of complications from severe brain damage at birth, unfortunately, Parker will never be able to physically play sports, but that cannot and has never stopped him from loving everything about sports and dreaming of a career in broadcasting. So each of our guests graciously gives of their time on this podcast to invest in Parker's dream and to help him be part of the sports world he loves so dearly.
Now, let's play ball! Welcome back to the Fan Fanatic Podcast. I would like to introduce you to my guest, Mr. Straton Karatassos. So, Strat, Strat, here's some personal questions for you. Where did you go to high school?
Savannah High School in Savannah, Georgia.
Where did you go to?
I know somebody that went there too, that you know.
My grandfather.
Sure did, a dear friend of mine.
Yes. Where did you go to college?
Georgia Southern.
What sports did you play?
I didn't play any sports. I went to work as a student trainer and continued that for, I guess, 40 years of my life. 40. So, anyway, I went into athletic training. I outlasted some of the guys that played. So, how about that?
So, where did you do? So, you said you were an athletic trainer. Where did you do where were you the athletic trainer? What school?
Well, I started in junior high school. We had a coach. Your grandfather, remember him? His name was Earl Etheridge.
Uh-huh.
And Coach Etheridge. I wanted to play football with everybody else, and anyway, I had some hand surgery, and my mother was worried about it. She called him like as mothers would do. And anyway, Coach Etheridge says, I'll just use him to help me around the team with a manager or trainer or something. And, it worked out great, for me.
So you were hired by Coach Etheridge to be manager?
Well, I just, volunteered just like anybody else would in junior high school and then in high school. So I was really fortunate.
What did you do at Georgia Southern University?
I got my master's. I got my undergraduate degree there, and I studied athletic. Well, I studied. I had a BS in education, which is. And then I majored in sports medicine and athletic training. There weren't very many curriculums like that at the time, so they really kind of made it for me. And anyway, I got that, and I was very fortunate. And from there, I went on to Mississippi State as a graduate assistant, and for a year, and not even planning to stay here more than a year. So, and it's been almost 50 now. August 3rd will be 50 years for me here.
So speaking of Georgia Southern, my dad actually is a professor at Georgia State University at the business school. So yeah. And then
the real
GSU. And then my cousin was a cheerleader at Georgia Southern. So I got to go to 2 Georgia Southern games. Like the first one, I believe it was the game against the Citadel in 2015, which Georgia Southern creamed them. And then the next year I got to see Georgia State play Georgia Southern in Atlanta, which I believe Georgia State won that game.
Well, lean back in your chair. I got something to tell you. We didn't have football when I was at Georgia Southern.
Wow.
And Coach Russell, Irk Russell, right?
Irk
Russell is the one that brought it. And I think we all thought that they were crazy to get involved in that because it was such a big undertaking. And I remember there was a guy who was very instrumental in me becoming an athletic trainer. His name was Tom Smith. And Mr. Smith came to talk to us about stuff that we were doing at Mississippi State because we had a football program, and one of the first 12 in the SEC, and he was talking about stuff that we ordered, and I remember him saying, "Well, how many of these neck collars did you guys order?" And I said, "We ordered 6." And he said, "Well, I think we ordered 8." And I said, "We ordered 6 dozen." He went, "We ordered 8." So he didn't realize that, how big a deal it was. And I remember we used to pack up stuff, and I think it's past the time of that I could get punished, but we used to pack up stuff in those igloo coolers and mail it to Georgia Southern because they didn't have anything.
Wow.
So you ordered 6 dozen of what now?
Like mirror neck collars and stuff like that, where they would only order a handful.
Wow.
So,
are you doing anything special for your 50th anniversary?
No. I just I was going to go try to help them with. Well, it's not 2-a-days anymore. It's pre-spring. It's pre-season. But I keep reminding myself I'm not 25, and it's it's pretty hot out there, so I'm gonna probably pass on that.
Go ahead. Sorry, say that again. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, you didn't know. I was gonna try to help them with spring with pre-season football because I enjoy being around the kids and I enjoy all that, but I keep being reminded by my wife that I'm not 25 years old anymore, and I can't keep up with them. So
I used to get those reminders every time I went to a Florida State game when I was in law school. My wife reminded me that I wasn't 19 anymore, but I'd like to think that I still am.
Florida State was one of the fun places that we used to go. We used to go play baseball at Coach Stallings was there, and the circus out in the outfield and all that kind of stuff, and then we played football there a few times, and it was awesome. But the most impressive thing I have ever seen in my lifetime at a football game was the Indian and throw
Chief Osceola and Renegade. Yeah.
So this was at
walking down in front of the team, and the horse kind of looking you over, and then all of a sudden he runs back to midfield and throws that lance in the ground. Man,
right,
we beat them.
Spear.
We beat them, but gee whiz.
Was this at Georgia Southern?
No, we were at.
What are you talking about? He's talking about Osceola and Renegade coming out on the field.
No, I mean, were you at Georgia Southern?
I was still at Georgia.
The time.
No, I was at Mississippi State then.
Oh, so Mississippi. So sorry, I totally cut you off in the middle of your story. No. You finish. No. My time is your time, my friend.
Your enthusiasm makes me happy.
What is your favorite part of your job?
Well, after I left the training room after 25 years and spent about almost 25 years in the athletic department as a fundraiser, but I love the people. I loved the athletes. And then when I left the training room, we were just kind of burnt out. There were only 2 of us that were taking care of everything. And I decided to just try something different. And I went to the Bulldog Club, and the Bulldog Club raises money for athletics. And I really enjoyed the people that I got to be around, not that I got to meet and became Bulldog Club members, not so much the people that worked for, but just to be able to get out and meet people and see how passionate people were, Parker, about athletics and especially Mississippi State athletics. And I was very blessed to have a presence. I mean, a known presence, and I didn't really have to go through the stuff about introducing myself and all that other kind of stuff. And people were very generous to give to Mississippi State and to athletics, and I was proud to be a part of it.
Very interesting. What is the greatest sports moment of your career?
Geez, it's hard to explain. It's hard to really find one. We're fortunate enough to go to College World Series once, Georgia Southern, and probably 6 times while I was still involved with Mississippi State athletics. And of course, the next time we went, we ended up winning it. So I came home with no ring, but the team did, which was important. But I think really and truly, everybody talks about the Mississippi State Alabama game of 1980, and it was probably one of the most impressive wins Mississippi State's ever had. Alabama hadn't been beat in 26 or 27 consecutive games, and we went to Jackson and played them there, and ended up beating them 6-3. And we had just, they were number one in the country for forever. And I still remember, Parker, your dad and mom will get some out of this, and your uncle Des and your grandfather Des, but we were in the locker room after the win, and you can imagine there was just pandemonium in there. And all of a sudden, the locker room went kind of quiet, and Coach Bryant walked through the doors of the locker room with his security guard and also the Alabama Highway Patrol. I got chill bumps on my arms, I'm telling you this. And he walked in, and they grabbed a chair for him, and he stood up on the chair. And I'll never forget, he took his hat off. He was quite the gentleman. And he took that houndstooth, whatever it is, that hat off. And he told the guys, he said, "Congratulations, fellas. The best team won today."
Wow.
And he tipped his hat at Coach Ballard, and then he looked at all the players and stepped down and went to his locker room. But there we are. We beat him on the field, but he beat us in the locker room because he gained so much respect from doing that. So that's probably one of the stellar moments in my career that I remember.
Okay, what is your favorite sport?
It's hard to say. Worked them all. I guess I miss the pageantry, maybe, and for lack of another word, the glory of football. Football is just such a huge undertaking, and it encompasses so much of the university's staff and their facilities. And baseball and basketball are great, and other sports that I've been involved in, and but football is the thing that boy, you what it's like to step in on the field and look around and see all those people, and they're not there to see me or you probably, but it's just impressive. Just 100,000 people, and it's awesome. I have been blessed so richly by the opportunity to be here, the work that I've done, the people that I've met, the places that I've been, and there's a lot of times I think about your grandfather, and I think about some of the guys I grew up with, and I think, boy, Des would love to be here for this, or boy, Mark Mamalakis would love to be here for this, or some of these other guys. And here I am, gotten to meet all these people, these famous people, and just realize they're just regular people. And you deal with Jerry Rice. You also tape Charles Barkley's ankles. Once in a while. People like that. And it's just unbelievable. You have to pinch yourself, and so I'd like to say I've been richly blessed.
Strat, I tell you what, I enjoyed Starkville last November, and I'm kind of bummed that I missed that whale of a game, that whale of an ending.
Well, it was really something special.
Because we went to we went to the stadium shop to buy something that I wanted, and I guess my grandparents I don't know why, but for some reason we didn't go back into the game afterwards.
That's okay.
But yeah, we missed one whale of an ending.
You tell your grandfather we played Auburn one time at Auburn, and Auburn was one of my favorite places to go. LSU is probably my absolute favorite place to go. But we were at Auburn one time, and we were down towards the end of the game, and we came back at the end of the game, and people were turning around on the highway coming back to see the game, and that's just unbelievable, unheard of.
Wow.
But we were, and when the quarterback, I'll never forget, came out of the shower and he hugged me and he said, they'll remember me forever, won't they? And I said, yeah, they'll remember you forever. I was soaking wet, but anyway.
Who was this quarterback you speak of?
Matt Wyatt. Matt Wyatt does a lot of the color for us, I think, if I'm not mistaken, on football.
Nice.
But and one of my, because you're doing this now, the guy that was my roommate on the road when I first got here in basketball, and it was a guy named Jack Crystal, and Jack Crystal was just
wait. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No. I totally interrupted you. Go ahead. Finish your story.
Jack Crystal was my roommate on the road, and he and some of those guys helped raise me, and I was so fortunate. You were talking earlier about Tennessee, but when we're on basketball trips, a lot of times somebody would get a phone call in the room, and I'd answer the phone, and they'd go, Strat, this is Kayward Ledford. Is Jack Crystal there? And I went, what? Kayward Ledford, or all these other guys, like Lindsey Nelson, and I just, of course, wow. I mean, just for those people to be on the phone and talk to them, and other people just hear about those people. So,
did you say you were roommates with the Jack Crystal? Oh my goodness!
He was my roommate. Let's get it straight.
Wow.
Yes, I was. He was one of the kindest people, finest people. He really raised me. He and some of the other people that we were on the road with, Parker, and I learned an awful lot from him.
What is number one on your bucket list of sporting events to attend that you haven't attended yet?
I would really and truly. I've been, like I say, I've been satisfied, and I've gotten a lot of stuff, but I think I would really like to go to an Army-Navy game. One of my student trainers that went to Florida State, and after Florida State, he became the assistant trainer at the Naval Academy. And I think I would have. That's probably the only job I would have left Mississippi State for.
Wow.
Nice.
It's because I just love the Naval Academy, and go Navy, beat Army. So I kind of live by that credo.
What pro teams do you cheer for?
The ones that have our players.
Good answer.
So, like the Cowboys.
We had one of the graduate assistants and he played for us was a guy named Joe Judge, and Joe was the coach for the
Giants, right?
Giants.
Yep.
And of course, I pulled for him, and I pulled for Showalter and the Mets, but I don't know how they're doing now. Well, and that was one of my. We call him Nat, but he goes by Buck Showalter. But he was one of my roommates on the road when we traveled when he was here in baseball. So I pull for wherever he is, and of course, I'm a Yankees fan, but I'm also a fan of wherever we got players, and that's really I love to see them do well and represent the university and the state of Mississippi.
So you said you're a Yankees fan? How come? I'm not trying to judge by anything. I wasn't trying to make a pun on Aaron Judge's name.
No, I don't care. No, that's all right.
So
I guess.
So how did you become a Yankees fan? Like I said,
I guess as a child, we were just getting TV back then, and a lot of times they would show the Yankees games, and I remember being able to get bubblegum cards, and I'll have all the Yankees players, and whenever they take the field, you'd always put the cards down at wherever their positions were. Like first base was Joe Pepitone, shortstop was Bobby Richardson, which Bobby Richardson coached at South Carolina, and I got a chance to meet him and spend some time with him, and just things like that. You just, Mantle and Maris and Yogi Berra, and then we got the guy that's at Ole Miss that was a baseball coach at Ole Miss, and a quarterback was Jake Gibbs, and he played catcher for the Yankees. So, and I didn't know any better. I guess I'm like some of those people that are Alabama fans. They win, and everybody jumps on that bandwagon. But I've always enjoyed the Yankees.
Dad, do you have any questions for Mr. Strat Karatassos?
Yeah, Strat. You meet a lot of people. You got a lot of great stories. Ever been starstruck by anybody? Just amazed that you got the opportunity to spend some time with this person?
Sure. There's a lot of people that I'm in awe of that I got to be there. But I guess probably one of the people was Jerry Rice. That's the greatest wide receiver to ever play the game. And Jerry, we knew Jerry when he was just a kid at Moore High School, and I remember he had bruised ribs, and we treated him for his ribs. Then, of course, we didn't know any better. It was just a kid that we were trying to help. And then he goes to, where's it in the Delta?
Mississippi Valley State.
Mississippi Valley. And then they start calling him all world this and all world that. And, we went, Jerry Rice. And then he comes home and he works out with us. And, I tape his ankles. We take care of him, look after him. And, he's just a regular guy. And, then you stop and think, wow, that was Jerry Rice,
Yeah.
Wait, the Jerry Rice?
Yes,
the Jerry
Parker,
Rice.
The Jerry Rice.
Wow.
He is from this area, a place not very far from here. And his dad worked for the university, and just a great guy, and worked out with us. The players just always loved being around him. And, he taught them while he was here. Coach Felker was the coach then, and, he'd run plays, and then he'd stop and he'd help the player, that was the wide receiver that was running the play. And it was just and there's been so many wonderful people that have been around us. And of course now, Dak Prescott, what a great guy. And Kenny John, KJ
Jefferson? No.
with Seattle. Anyway, but there's so many of those guys, and some of them there's a guy named Fred McCrary. I don't know if you know him, but he played for the Patriots, and then he played for the Atlanta Falcons, and he had a program called Freddie Mac or something like that on thing, and did. But Fred was what we thought was a good college player, but not astronomically talented. But there he is. He plays for 11 or 12 years. Got a huge Super Bowl ring on his hand, and as fine a person as you could meet. And one thing that I was always sort of impressed with in a way was we got to watch the pro guys come in, the pro scouts a lot of times, and sometimes the pro players, and you get to see their championship rings. And I'll always remember, always wanting to see those. And I remember the scout for the Yankees. I got to see him one time when he was with Showalter, and he had that blue world championship ring with, at that time, there were 23 stars around it.
Wow.
For the 23 times they had won the World Series. And then the next year, I think he came in and he showed me his ring, and it was the NY in diamonds, and see Jerry Rice's ring looks like it's like a tube of tape. It's so thick, wide.
Strat, I can't believe I didn't know you met all these cool people. No, sorry, go ahead. Oh no.
Well, I just, it happens, and it's not because, like I say, I was just blessed to meet those people, and I really and truly do. I keep thinking, Will Clark, Rafael Palmeiro, those guys, go, I know those guys, I mean, intimately, and just, it's been such a blessing for me, and my family has benefited from it. The girls, get the chance to be around them, and, they're so generous and so good to me.
I think this is it. It's good for people to hear this as, folks who have a passion for sports. There's so many different ways to be connected to it so intimately, right?
Right.
That, you knew these players better than most, maybe only second to coaches perhaps, and sometimes maybe better than coaches because you're taping ankles and they're probably talking about things they wouldn't talk about with coaches and whatnot. That, students out there that may be listening to this thinking, I may not be able to play at the next level or whatever, but you could get into the training aspect of things and have a a contribution and really get to know folks and be involved in a program. That I think it's a really, really cool story.
I mean, for me here I am. I can walk into a stadium and I can tap somebody on the shoulder and here's the player. And it's just unbelievable. And I'm just so blessed. And like I mentioned earlier, I think about your granddad and I think about some of the other guys I grew up with, and they had great careers when they were in high school, and some of them were lucky enough to play in the colleges and stuff. And here I am. I didn't hit it down, and I'm out there in the middle of it, and I think of that, and I think how lucky I am, and how much I wish I could share some of those moments with them.
So like you said earlier, you went to Savannah High, and it just so happens we're doing this interview from Tybee Island, Georgia. That's where we are.
Ooh, from your granddad's house?
Oh, yeah.
Hold on now, Parker. Your grandma's house. Let's be clear.
House,
this is Dee Dee's house.
We got to straighten that up, man.
We're going to get in trouble for that one.
Will you tell your grandmother Mary I said hello? And
Strat.
I have just been. Yeah, go ahead.
No, finish. You finish your story. I have interrupted you so many times, and I am so sorry. You finished talking, my friend. Finished talking.
I am not worried. Don't you worry about that. But I just, I was so thankful that I got a chance to go back to the first reunion of our high school class. I got to go back to was the 50th year anniversary, and your granddad was there, and several other people that I remember very close, that I was very close to. And I just remember seeing your granddad come up to me, and I thought the world of him when he was back then, and I think even more of him now. And I hope I get a chance to see him all again, and it meant something to me. Sometimes you forget where you came from, you forget Savannah High School. We had, I think, Daz, we had 550 students there or something that graduated on that one year. And, it's just, and to think, and you start moving on and you go, I forget about, you forget about Georgia Southern. I'm ashamed to say that sometimes, and Mississippi State's become the thing I think about the most, and because I've been put so many years in here.
So earlier in the podcast, you were talking about your family. Why don't you tell everyone about your family? Like who the members are?
Oh, okay. But my dad was graduated from the Naval Academy in Greece, and I'm first generation here. So that means first generation. But
is that where you got your Greek descent from? Your father?
My father and mother, and that we were raised in Savannah has a Greek Orthodox church, and we were raised there, and they had like 200 families. And after the war was over, my dad sailed for, he was a captain, and he sailed for some of the merchant marine lines like Onassis and Stavros and or some of those other guys, and ended up meeting my mom in Savannah. So, I was born, and then I came to Mississippi, and first night in Mississippi, Parker, they told me, the guy that brought me here said, "You're going to stay here a long time and marry a Southern Baptist from the Delta." And I thought to myself, y'all are crazy. I'm out of this town in a year and moving on to bigger and better things. But sure enough, it happened. And I haven't looked back since. I've, been blessed, and I have two beautiful girls, and good Lord's blessed me with another wife. My first wife passed away, and
God bless you.
Another sweet Mississippi woman. So, but
on this pod, go ahead.
No.
You finish up, my friend. I do not have the human. I should not interrupt you. That is very rude of me, especially
Parker. It's only me.
Especially interrupt a man of your stature. So you go ahead and finish your story, my friend.
It's your pappous. Don't you worry about it.
I appreciate that. Okay, so on this podcast, we are all sports fanatics. So last question we ask all of our guests: as a fan, what do you think is the all-time greatest moment in sports?
Parker, being Greek, and we started the Olympics. I got to think it's got to be something in the Olympic thing, because that's an individual thing, and you can't blame a teammate, nor can nor can a teammate take credit for something else. I mean, it's you. I mean, it's all up to you and what you've done. I'd have a hard time pinning it on one person, but I think about I saw something the other day about Jesse Owens, and and how great an athlete he was, and he bore the weight of the world in a way when he did what he did in Nazi Germany, and and it and shamed Hitler in front of all his people, and I think about people like that. Those are the people that humble me to no end.
Great answer, my friend.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So I guess that pretty much wraps it up.
No.
Oh,
I'm having too good a time. I'm kidding.
Oh, so if you don't mind, I want to leave you with this. Well, Strat, Karatassos, you, my friend, you can take this podcast episode and wrap it in maroon and white. You see what I did there? Jack Crystal?
I thought you might be wrapping it in blue and gold or something. blue and orange, excuse me.
Blue and orange, yeah.
Oh,
Garnet and gold.
I tell you, Strat, you are something. You are something, my friend.
Well, I've been so blessed.
Thank you for taking time out of your very busy life.
I am thrilled.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
And may the pirate rest in peace.
You hug your mom and your dad for me.
All right, Fanatics. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of The Fan and Fanatic. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for all of your support. Don't forget to follow or subscribe, or whatever your podcast app says to do. And you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For my broadcast partner, Ryan Grelecki, this is Parker Grelecki saying, Game, Set, Match!